Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode from DGMZ. For all our returning viewers and subscribers, we are very glad you could join us. And for the new viewers, we are very happy that you discovered the podcast and decided to explore it. As always, for the new viewers, my strong recommendation would be to access the introduction episode um, because that will give you a good insight into the objective and motivation behind this podcast. Also, for your awareness, we have currently two playlists. One playlist gets into these weekend episodes where we explore one ghazal from Diwan-e-Ghalib at a time. And the other playlist, that's a fairly short one, would address or cover our topics and discussions other than the ghazals, right? So, still focused on Urdu poetry, still focused on Mirza, but not the ghazals. There's a very interesting episode in there, Asad, which is about the pen name Ghalib used for some time and then switch to Ghalib as his nom de plume. So interesting episode if you want to access that. Now, last week we finished a three-part long uh, impression for Ghazal 10. We covered Ghazal 10 in 3 episodes. Um, and today we are ready for a new Ghazal. It is Ghazal 11 and it's a fairly short one. So yeah, after that three-part episode, this is a change where we have two shorter ghazal now. So just two share in the divan, and as always, I'm going to read through the entire ghazal first, and then we will get into the impressions couplet by couplet. So this is how it goes. मतलब अर्ज किया है, ना होगा यक बयाबा मांदगी से zauq कम मेरा, ना होगा यक बयाबा मांदगी से zauq कम मेरा, habab-e-mauja-e-raftar है नक्श-e-qadam मेरा. मक्ता अर्ज किया है, मोहब्बत थी चमन से लेकिन अब ये बेदिमागी है कि मौजे-बुए-गुल से नाक में आता है दम मेरा. Now, in all fairness, I don't think this would be the makta because when I was doing my research, this ghazal has more couplets to it. But in the Divan, only two are included, and that stands for all the different versions of Divans I own from different authors. So, yes, at times poets used to have a whole ghazal of like 5, 10 couplets, but when they decided to compile it together as their divan, they would pick and choose, right? So, um, for this particular ghazal, only two couplets are included. So, the first one definitely is the matla, but the second one probably uh, technically is not the makta, but in the divan, these are the two we have, and these are the two we are going to get into. So let's start with the first one. ना होगा यक बयाबा मांदगी से zauq कम मेरा. ना होगा simple, it won't happen. Yak bayaba. So yak is one, uh, ek ka is just a different version of ek, yak, right? So ek, and then bayaba is basically a desert, a wasteland, a stretch of land which is desolated, wild, arid, like I said, a wasteland. And mandgi is fatigue, tiredness, right? And usually mandgi का एक बहुत कॉमन यूज़ है राख की मांदगी. So the tiredness of the way, right? Or the journey, so to speak. So, yes, that's what mandgi is. And then zauq is a taste for something, a passion for something, right? Um, and so the first line approximately translates into the tiredness I feel while I walk the expanse of this wasteland, right? The tiredness I feel when I walk through this wasteland does not dampen my passion and zest. Now, for what we will cover that in the second line, but in the first line, this is what Ghalib is saying, uh, and because he's making a point in clarifying that the tiredness is not going to dampen my passion or zest. Clearly, this is not your regular tiredness. This is a fatigue, a tiredness, a despair which has built over a long time, through a long journey, on a long path, where everywhere there was just wasteland. Just wasteland, just despair, hopelessness, loneliness, wilderness, right? So he is not talking about any journey. He is talking about this specific journey, which pretty much seems a waste, right? Because the journey is through a wasteland. So when you're walking through an expanse of land, be it a desert or whatever, with nothing in sight, no milestone, there is मंजिल तो राह में दिख नहीं रही है कहीं. बस ये कंटिन्यूस एक कंटिन्यूस जर्नी है with no destination in sight. That can become very tiring. It can lead to a fatigue and hopelessness and despair that that can dampen even the liveliest of spirits, right? But this is Ghalib. So he is making it very clear that the journey is not easy. It's not your run of the mill journey where you can see the destination in sight. uh, all I see is just some more wasteland, some more, desolation and wilderness. That's all I see. But even that is not enough to dampen my zest and passion. And then the second line is very beautiful, right? So the second line is habab-e-mauja-e-raftar hai, naqsh-e-qadam mera. So word complexes, very typical of Ghalib. We'll have to break them. So habab-e-mauj. So habab-e-mauj. So habab is bubbles. Mauj is a wave. Bubbles of the wave. Bubbles on the wave, off the wave. Raftar. So the speed by which the bubbles appear on top of waves, or the pace of the bubbles atop a wave. And that is very fast. Naqsh-e-qadam hai mera are like the imprints of my feet or steps. So on the surface, the literal translation suffices to um, explain the basic meaning of this sher, wherein Ghalib is making a point to let everyone know that no matter what you send my way, it doesn't dampen my spirits. No matter what trials and tribulations you send my way, they don't dampen my spirits, right? And why don't they dampen my spirits? Because me, my pace, my footprints are that of bubbles on a wave. Now, that's where my confusion started. So, what about these bubbles, right? I mean, what about these bubbles that make his pace or steps so so special? What is he trying to capture here? So I realized that habab, which is bubbles, has been used in Urdu poetry a lot. It is symbolic, and it is symbolic of many things, not just one thing. And one uses it in different symbolic meanings, right? So, the first attribute of the bubbles, which is used very frequently, is its quality of appearing and disappearing quickly, right? So, it appears and disappears very quickly. Now, you can you can call it speed, right? Because usually things will not appear and disappear so quickly. You can also call it the temporary attitude, I mean, the temporary quality of the bubbles, right? Wherein they are there just for a fleeting moment. So there's a fleeting nature to the bubbles. Now, some would consider it their weakness, some would consider it their strength, their uniqueness, right? So, um, now let's talk about the positive side of it, right? So these bubbles jolly well know that they are here to exist for a fleeting moment, right? But still, it's almost as if they display this now arrogance is a harsh negative word. I'm trying to think of another word. They just pride. Yes. So despite their fleeting existence, the pride that these bubbles have, even in that fleeting moment, the way they dance, the way they play with light, the way they almost raise their head, right, and claim their existence, even though it is short, is something very unique to them. We all know how fragile bubbles are, how fragile they are. But in that fragility, in that fleeting existence, to dance atop a wave in pride of their beauty and the fact that they got to exist no matter how fleetingly is something very unique to the bubble. And शायरों ने पोएट्स ने उनकी इस क्वालिटी को बहुत सराहा है, बहुत यूनिक तरीके से डिपिक्ट किया है पोइट्री में. एक शेर आप ये देखिए, मौजे दरिया को चाहिए तेज़ी, मौजे दरिया को चाहिए तेज़ी, जो उठाए न सर हबाब नहीं. ब्यूटिफुल है. So approximately translated, it means that the wave, of the sea, the waves of the sea love speed. They love speed. They need speed. They want speed. They have a taste for speed. And then you are not a bubble if you don't raise your head, right? So the bubbles float atop the wave. Wave is a huge entity, if you may, especially in the sea, right? And to dance on the head of a wave, even though for a fleeting second, takes a lot of takes a lot of pride and confidence in your existence, in your beauty, right? In the fact that what is fragile and fleeting about you probably is what gives you the speed to rise up. The fact that they are so light, the fact that they are nothing but a little gas captured in a film of water, right? That is the reason for them to rise and dance atop a wave. So गालिब वही जज्बा इस कपलेट में लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मैं फ्लीटिंग हूँ, मैं फ्रेजाइल हूँ, बट जब मैं हूँ तब मैं अपने पूरे जलवे में हूँ। उस वक़्त मुझे कोई छू नहीं सकता। वो जो एक लम्हा है जो मुझे मिला है होने के लिए, उसमें मैं जिस तरह होता हूँ कोई और हो नहीं सकता। So that is one aspect of bubbles which is very conspicuous, right? How their strength and pride lies or stems from their fragility, right? And then, of course, the speed. Bubbles race. They are here and then they are there and then they hop, skip, and jump, right? These are not slow moving. These are not slow moving things. You can't catch them. You can't catch them. You do not even figure out how a bubble from here transfers to there, right? I mean, it's just like almost a vanishing quality to them. So it's very difficult. It almost seems that they are flying or skimming over the surface. It is difficult to nail them down. So that is another quality of a bubble, habab, the speed, gati, right? And that is also something which Ghalib is trying to capture in this couplet. So उसके लिए एक शेर है जो कि इस चीज़ को कैप्चर करता है। स्पीड को तो नहीं कैप्चर करता है, बट वो जो एग्जिस्टेंस है बबल का उसको कैप्चर करता है। सो ये अब्बास रिजवी का शेर है, कोई हवा से ये कह दे ज़रा ठहर जाए, कोई हवा से ये कह दे ज़रा ठहर जाए कि रक्स करने की मोहलत हबाब मांगते हैं। Raqs is dance. Mohalat is opportunity. So beautiful sher where the approximate translation is that can somebody request the wind to stop for a moment, not blow so hard, right? Because the bubbles are requesting for an opportunity to dance. Because we know even a small uh, breeze can destroy a bubble. They don't survive. Everything destroys them. They are so fragile, everything destroys them. But still, amidst all this, they still somehow find that opportunity to display their splendor, before they finish, before they cease to exist. And then the last thing for which they are probably used the most is their fragility. Despite the beauty, despite the splendor, despite the speed, despite the fact that they ride atop waves of the sea, the fact remains they are very fragile. Anything and everything can destroy them. So even when they are coming into existence, they are already ceasing to exist. The action of them coming into existence is the trigger for them to cease to exist. And Ghalib again is capturing that quality of bubbles in this couplet. So उनकी fragility पे तो बहुत शेर है, but let's go through a few of them. ये वाला जो है ये अब्दुल हमिद आदम का है। बस इस कदर है खुलासा मेरी कहानी का, बस इस कदर है खुलासा मेरी कहानी का, कि बन के टूट गया एक हबाब पानी का। एंड totally your perspective, how you want to perceive, right? if you if you believe it, everything is a miracle. If you don't, nothing is, right? So the approximate translation of this couplet is that the summary of my life story is this: it was a bubble of water which came into existence and ceased to exist. The coming into existence was the ceasing to exist. एक और है अकबर अलाहाबादी का, बहरे हस्ती में हूँ मिसाले हबाब, मिट ही जाता हूँ जब उभरता हूँ मैं। ये तो और भी ब्यूटीफुल है. So the approximate translation is that my existence is synonymous with the existence of a bubble. And the second line is where the beauty is. The second line says, I start getting erased as I start rising up. The same thing. As a bubble, when I rise up, I start getting erased. It is a parallel thing. I don't rise up and then get erased. I rise up and I get erased simultaneously. So just capturing that. एंड देन ये वाला शेर तो मीर तकी मीर का शेर है, आपने कई बार सुना होगा क्योंकि ये कई जगह कोट किया गया है. उनका बहुत ही खूबसूरत और बहुत ही फेमस शेर है. हस्ती अपनी हबाब की सी है, ये नुमाइश शराब की सी है. सो अगेन द अप्रॉक्सीमेट ट्रांसलेशन इज दैट माई एग्जिस्टेंस इज लाइक दैट ऑफ अ बबल, एंड दिस होल डिस्प्ले of my existence is but a mirage, an illusion. So now that we know, because इस couplet में वो हबाब जो है ना, that is the centerpiece, that is the beauty of the couplet. So now that we have grasped all the aspects of a bubble, let's try to get into the impression one more time. ना होगा yak-bayaban mandgi se zauq kam mera, habab-e-mauja-e-raftar hai naqsh-e-qadam mera. So Ghalib is saying that no amount of wasteland, no amount of desert, no amount of a tiring journey is going to dampen my zest. Now, zest for what? Zest for life, zest for love, zest for making it through this wasteland, because Ghalib's life and love both were both were sabotaged by lack and loss. So he's not talking about life and love in the positive sense. He is talking about going through this life which is totally uh, full of lack and sorrow and grief, and going through this love which is unrequited, again a huge source of lack, loss and grief. So Ghalib is saying that this long journey through life, or through love, or both, is not going to dampen my ambition to get through these, right? Because I know that my existence is that of a bubble. My existence, my footprints, my journey is that of a bubble. So if I do it right, I can tap into the speed, right? I can tap into the speed of a bubble and ride this wave. Yes, it. I have a short time with me. I come with a fragility. I come with a fleeting quality, but I think that if I tap into this speed and this pride and this quality to stay atop, afloat, I can make it. I can make it. And just like bubbles, you can destroy me, but bubbles don't only get destroyed fast, they get created fast too. So, yeah, keep destroying me. I can regenerate just like a bubble and just keep going, right? You keep destroying me, uh, and I will keep creating another bubble and just keep riding this wave. And I think that's the way I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna do this journey like a bubble where I'll keep rising to the surface and I'll keep creating more and more bubbles and just pass through it. He's saying that his footprints are like bubbles. They will come, they will go, and then they will come again, and then they will go again, and then they will come again. So एक तरीका निकाल लिया है गालिब ने, एक तरीका निकाल लिया है गालिब ने इस लंबी जर्नी को तय करने का. बिकॉज नॉर्मल तरीके से इसको तय करना शायद मुनासिब नहीं है. Because bayaba usually does not have an end. Wastelands, really, the end is not in sight. So that's how this whole couplet comes through. पहली लाइन में the difficulty of the journey and दूसरी लाइन में उनकी strategy how to do it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. मोहब्बत थी चमन से लेकिन अब ये बेदिमागी है कि मौजे-बुए-गुल से नाक में आता है दम मेरा. सिंपल है, कोई वर्ड कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं है. अप्रॉक्सीमेट ट्रांसलेशन मीन्स दैट इन द पास्ट I was, like everybody else, in love with the garden. The garden of life, probably. I was in love with the smells, the sights, the sounds. And then happened this state of mind. यहाँ पे उन्होंने बेदिमागी कहा है, but it is this state of mind which is very depressed, hopeless, defeated, devoid of any zest for life. So Ghalib says that now I have somehow found myself in this mental state where मौजे-बुए-गुल से नाक में आता है दम मेरा. That now any whiff, fragrance, smell of these flowers almost makes me choke, almost makes me lose my breath, right? Almost makes me want to stop breathing. नाक में आता है दम मेरा. Basically, it's just like whatever air I took in just comes back into my nose, right? In a very abnormal way, just almost making me wanna cease to breathe, right? That is my distaste, or that is my nauseating reaction to these smells and fragrances and sights and sounds now. And yeah, so ये जज्बा गालिब ने कई गज़लों में कैप्चर किया है, जहाँ पे जब बात शुरू हुई थी तब तो सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा था, होपफुल था, ड्रीमी था, विशफुल था. बट धीरे धीरे one by one, जैसे जैसे these wishes and dreams remained unfulfilled, the whole mental state changed. The whole mental state changed. So उनकी सॉरी, उनकी एक गज़ल है, पूरी गज़ल का तो नहीं पढ़ेंगे, बट वो गज़ल इसी चीज़ पे है, एंड इट गोज़ लाइक, कोई उम्मीद बर नहीं आती, कोई सूरत नज़र नहीं आती, आगे आती थी हाले दिल पे हंसी, अब किसी बात पर नहीं आती. So the approximate translation is, there was a time when I could see hope, I could wish, I was waiting for something to happen. Now I've reached a state that there's just nothing. There's just nothing. There's nothing to wait for, there's nothing to dream for, there's nothing to pray for. And why? Because life, and that includes love, has sent enough enough evidence my way to prove undoubtedly that these dreams are not going to get fulfilled. वो जैसे उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है, पूरा मुझे पूरी तरह से मेरे लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस ने बता दिया है ये नहीं होगा. दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. These wishes are not going to get fulfilled. These dreams are not going to come true. It, I've, I have so much evidence has been forced on me. So much evidence has been forced on me that it has killed all hope, all desire, all wishes. So, where I started, wherein though I started, right, though I started with all the wishes and dreams and hopes, like every normal person, if I went into the garden, it was a positive experience for me. I was enjoying the sights, the sounds, the smells, like everybody else. It was bringing me joy. The fragrance was bringing me joy. All the goodness in life, all the good things of life used to bring me joy, even if they were not mine. Looking at them used to bring me joy. Beauty brought me joy. Lively things brought me joy. Life brought me joy. Just like any normal person. I liked the sunshine, I liked the plants, I liked the flowers, I liked the fruits, whatever, right? I was a normal person. But unfortunately, my experiences, my disappointments, my disillusionments have changed my mental state. They have completely altered my mental state. And look at the evolved thinking here. Just, it's amazing. He is not giving that typical reaction wherein a person would say, oh, things are going wrong for me. Things around me are wrong. People around me are doing me wrong. And hence I am in such a state. They are the reason that I am in such a state that I don't enjoy anything anymore. That's not Ghalib. He was a poet, he was a philosopher. What Ghalib says is, my mental state has changed. My mental state has changed, and hence the same things that used to bring me joy today almost make me feel nauseated, almost make me feel as if they are choking me. Yeah. And it takes a lot, right? इट टेक्स अ लॉट. उनका अभी हम लोगों ने कुछ दिन पहले एक एपिसोड में उनकी एक गज़ल कवर की थी जिसमें वो बोल रहे थे कि अम, आज मैं इस बात के लिए शुक्रगुजार हूँ कि तुमने कभी कोई वादा नहीं किया, तुमने कभी कुछ एक्नॉलेज नहीं किया, तुमने कभी कुछ बोला नहीं। आज मैं इस बात के लिए शुक्रगुजार हूँ। एंड इन दैट एपिसोड ऑल्सो I mentioned how much suffering would it take to bring a lover who started with हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, to bring a lover from that place to a place where he now says, today I am thankful, I feel blessed that you never acknowledged, never promised, never said anything um, remotely indicative of you having any interest in me. Because had you done that, तुम तो शायद इन पासिंग बोल देती, पर मेरे को तो फिर ज़िंदगी भर इंतज़ार करना पड़ता। इश्क का तकाज़ा है कि मुझे तो फिर उम्मीद बन जाती। इसलिए आज आज मैं इस बात के लिए शुक्रगुजार हूँ कि तुमने मुझे कभी कोई उम्मीद दी ही नहीं, कभी कोई उम्मीद दी ही नहीं। उस बात के लिए आज मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ। तो वो बिल्कुल ऐसा ही लग रहा है यहाँ पे कि वो सारी चीज़ें, एंड यू कैनॉट इग्नोर द फैक्ट दैट he has used chaman, a garden, and all the qualities of the garden, the beauty, the fragrance, life, right, innocence, are very akin to the beloved, are very akin to the beloved. सो जब बिलवड को जानते नहीं थे, उसको उसको प्यार नहीं करते थे, उससे इंटरैक्ट करने की कोशिश नहीं करते, तो उसको बस जब देखा था दूर से, तो प्रॉबली शी वुड हैव कम अक्रॉस एज अ गार्डन विच इज़ ओनली फुल ऑफ ब्यूटी, कलर, फ्रेग्रेंस, गुडनेस, लाइफ। बट एक बार जब उनसे इंटरैक्ट करना शुरू किया, when Ghalib was at the receiving end of her actions to him, that is when that realization starts creeping in that she's not going to send anything good my way. Only thing that I will find coming my way from her is pain, grief, and loss. Sense of lack, unrequited love, because she will not reciprocate. In fact, she will hold it against me, the fact that I love her, and I'm vocal about it, and I profess it. Anyway, so that brings us to the end of the second couplet, and that's all this ghazal had. I hope you enjoyed the impression, um, and I look forward to getting into ghazal 12 next time. That again has two couplets only, so we are kind of making up for that long ghazal 10. uh, till then, everybody, love and light to all of you, and thanks for watching.